joining me with more on the smartphone market is Chris Ciaccia, Technology Editor at TheStreet.com. Chris, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Michelle.
So, Chris, a smartphone versus what we call a feature phone that can only perform the basic functions of calls and texting. Smartphones now overtaking them. What is the significance of this development?
Well, the real big thing here is that people's mobile computing needs are really changing. People want computing needs on the go, so they're looking for PC functionality, but in a smartphone or a tablet. So that's why you're seeing smartphones overtake feature phones right now.
Well, we know that that has had a big impact on the PC market, with PC sales tumbling quarter after quarter. Are regular phones on their way of becoming obsolete as well?
They're not on the obsolete right now. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but they are in the decline. People's smartphones needs are really starting to turn up. People really want more functionality out of their phones. They can go on the internet, check email, sports, stocks, what have you. They can even change their lights from their home, from their smartphone. So that's what they really want out of a phone right now.
So who's still in the market for these regular phones then?
You have people in underdeveloped countries, people in Africa, other parts of Asia. There are even some people here in America who haven't had a chance, either whether they don't see the need for a smartphone, or they just haven't migrated towards it yet.
So if these regular phones, which are predominantly used in emerging markets or third world markets, are slowly becoming overtaken by smartphones, what does this mean with regards to the improving infrastructure and technology of these emerging markets? I mean, that's surely a good sign in terms of that.
Definitely. Cell phone companies are really looking towards third world countries as the next area of growth. And that's why we're starting to see smartphone sales tick up. That's why we've seen smartphone sales overtake feature phones. People are starting to realize that these devices, although a little bit more expensive than feature phones, really have benefits that outweigh.
Well, prices have come down significantly for smartphones. What's more or less the price differential between a regular phone and a smartphone?
In some cases, it's pretty differential. An iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy versus your generic flip phone, that's a big difference. We could see prices as high as $600 or $700 if the phones are unsubsidized, whereas a feature phone might go for $79 to $100. That's a big difference.
Now, we mentioned today Lenovo, the world's biggest PC maker, now selling more smartphones than it does PC. It's taken quite a bit of market share from other smartphone makers, but Samsung still holding the top spot in terms of ranking. There's been a big dispute between Apple and Samsung lately. How is that bound to affect the ranking in terms of the smartphone global market?
I think Lenovo is doing an excellent job in terms of positioning itself in the smartphone market. I don't see it changing the Apple-Samsung duopoly anytime soon. Samsung and Apple are really the two major players in smartphone sales around the world, especially here in the US. But Lenovo's really taking share, especially at the lower end, and I think they're positioned well for the future.
Speaking of the future, what can we expect in terms of big new smartphone trends?
I think the big new smartphone trend you're going to see in a couple months when Apple releases the new iPhone 5S. The big trend technology-wise is going to be fingerprint technology. Instead of putting in your password...
So biometrics.
Yes, biometrics is probably going to be the big thing late 2013 and 2014 as well.
Because we've seen how the big pioneers of the smartphone market, like BlackBerry, have become fallen heroes. Who's going to come in with a new upsetting technology?
I think Apple really is, with this fingerprint technology and biometrics, is really going to be innovative. I think it's going to showcase that biometrics are really the big thing for technology and smartphones, and you're going to see other people copy that as well.
So you're still confident that Apple still has room to innovate. What about BlackBerry? What can we expect from BlackBerry's future sale? Talk of it going on private sale. You think that's likely to happen, and who could possibly be in the market for that?
I think BlackBerry eventually probably does go private. We've seen speculation that some Canadian pension firms or Canadian investment firms take the company private. There's also talk that companies like Microsoft or Lenovo, as you mentioned previously, could potentially bring BlackBerry into their fold, although I don't think that happens anytime soon.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much, Chris Ciaccia, Technology Editor at TheStreet.com.